All right. We are live. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
Everyone.
Welcome, all you board boosters. Welcome. Yeah, Boko's here for the Gnorp.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
Boko.
It's Gnorpin time.
That is a name I have not heard in a long time.
Yeah,
Long
that's
time.
true. Not since the dark days.
All right. Not since the dark days. Yeah, we were just talking about Defenders of Dynastron City right before we went live here. So it's left its
We're saying
impact.
we're saying a lot of good things about it.
All right. So, hey, everybody, welcome in. If somehow you don't know what this is, and you've stumbled upon this Twitch channel, well, welcome in. We are the Board Boosters. We're a club of speedrunners and speedrun hopefuls who are looking to find speedrun boards that are underrepresented with not very many runs on them, and trying to show them some love, build a stronger board for them, and learn the run together as a community. We've been doing this for a while now. Coming up on 2 years, actually, next month, which is wild.
Ancient.
Yeah. The game that we ran in April was called the Gnorp Apologue. It was a interesting little point and click style game. What is the type of game that these are called? Idle games. However, it had a little bit more to it than your typical idle game, which we'll get into as we talk more about the game itself and the speedrun and the categories. I just want to let everybody know in chat, as we're going here, please throw some questions in the chat to let us know if you have any questions about the game or questions for any of the people who ran it, and we will try to address them as we go. So
yeah, please try to throw me off, because I actually just play on autopilot and don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's an idle game. You could technically do that, I guess. But yeah, okay. And that's a perfect introduction of the guest that we have here. We have David TKI here, one of the top runners of Gnorp Apologue.
World record holder, David T.
Yeah, world record holder.
Yeah.
Of Gnorp Apologue, of New Game, which is very incredible. We'll talk more about that. So yeah, we do we want to also do introductions to everybody else here? I guess we can do them real quick. I'm Zero Counts. Hello, everybody.
I'm Zarek.
So, Bug Doctor.
Yes. Yeah, so let's talk about this game, the Gnorp Apologue. It was selected by fellow Board Boost admin Latalis Rose. Latalis had said that she kind of stumbled upon this game and just kind of noticed that it had a speedrun mode on it, and immediately searched it up on speedrun.com and saw that there was no speedrun.com page for the game at all, and was like, well, this is a perfect thing to choose for the board boost, and threw it on the suggestions list. It's interesting though, because this game did have people who speedrun it. I mean, obviously it has a speedrun mode. After doing a little bit of searching, we ended up finding some runs on YouTube, and most specifically from a YouTube account called Chicken Lordable, and I ended up reaching out to the runner to try to get in contact with them. The run was from I think a year or two ago, and so I wasn't sure if they weren't really active much on YouTube, it didn't seem, so I just kind of try it, and they ended up getting back to us and ended up joining in the board boosters. Their name is Rick, and I can't remember. It's like, "Hi, I'm Rick" or something like that. I can't remember the Discord name. But Rick, and they gave us some resources for the game and sort of walked us through how, what they thought was the optimal route. Some of us used that as sort of a launch point for the speedrun mode. Some of us ignored it completely and sort of developed our own strategies. And I think at the end we sort of had a combination of like what we found from Rick/Chicken Lordable's runs and kind of our own developments as well. Something interesting though is that you don't have to just run the speedrun mode. There's a new game mode as well for the game, and some of us, mainly David, decided to tackle speedrunning the game from the start. So to understand how like large of an undertaking that is, for the people on the stream here now who played through the casual mode, I think that's Zarek. How long did it take you to play through it casually?
So casually, I spent a lot of hours on it, and I left it running overnight because it's an idle game. And I would like leave my computer and then come back in the morning and be like, okay, how much shards did I get, or like whatever to spend on things, and then like leave it and come back. So technically days, right? But several hours of active play as well.
Sure. Yeah, I guess we should probably talk about like what the game is and how it plays. Do you, Zarek, do you want to kind of try to explain?
Yeah, well, just to bring your comment full circle about like how incredible David's run is, because David was able to take that, what I just described with this like several day idle game thing, and get it done in under an hour. Right, so like
Yes.
that's the scale that we're talking about here. So I had never played this game, and I came into it fresh and played it through the regular sort of casual way first, which I don't always do with board boost games. I often just jump in as a speedrun. The Gnorp Apologue is a game. The creator describes it as a game where you help cute Gnorps, with this rock, get rich. Yeah. And so the game starts off, and it's on a single sort of two-dimensional plane, and there is a big rock in the middle, and you click on it, and then these little tiny shards fly off of it. That becomes the currency in the game. There's a few different types of currency, but that becomes the main type of currency. And then you can generate these little creatures called Gnorps with their little tiny trees, and then use the currency and the Gnorps to purchase upgrades, get more shards out of the rock, and you just do that sort of cyclically. It gets a bit more difficult. There's stages of difficulty in getting the shards out of the rock, and the upgrades, some scale better than others, right? So there's a strategy to it in that sense, and then eventually you get to like the final upgrade. And once you've done that, that's the completion of the game.
It's like the railgun or something, right? Is that what it is? The last thing?
Yeah, just very specifically about that, it is called a railgun.
Okay.
Though what it does is it uses if you look at the animation and the structure, it would use a railgun to shoot up a ship that then detaches from the railgun altogether and is a drill. So it's not really it's not like you're firing a railgun at the rock. Yeah,
makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it makes as much sense as the rest of the game. Right.
Right.
There's a few things about the game that are pretty characteristic, right? It's very cute, right? Like it is exceptionally cute. The terminology for like the jobs that the Gnorps have and the things that they do is very cutesy. The animation style is simplistic but pretty clear. You can sort of see what's happening if you're playing it. If you're watching on stream, you can't see what's happening because there's so many shards coming off this rock at the end of the run that it absolutely obliterates your bit rate. But I might be getting a bit ahead of myself here because you just sort of asked for like a basic description, Zero. Is that sort of what you were looking for, but like what the basics of the gameplay are kind of thing? Or
I think so. Yeah. I mean, that's like in its most basic sense, I think that's what's going on. I think what really like you were saying, like what really makes it its own is like the number of options. Like I feel like I've fallen down the rabbit hole of some idle games in my time, and I feel like a lot of them they all have the same sort of progression, right? It's like, okay, you build enough of these and then you can build the next thing up, and then you build enough of those, you can go to the next thing up. This has so many different detours and routes that you can select, and different like ways that you can upgrade the choices that you have. Like it's honestly kind of mind-blowing just to see like how many ways you can approach the game. And that kind of made it sort of daunting from a speedrun standpoint. I know early on we tried doing like a spreadsheet, and I say we, but it was Latalis. Latalis was making a spreadsheet, and it just kind of got to the point where it's like there's too many variables. So it was really nice that we saw some previous speedruns available to kind of give us a launching point. But like, I don't know, I guess we can kind of talk to David about it too. Like, what, like, because David, I think, I want to say, you said you didn't check out the world record run until quite late.
Yeah, pretty much. I was doing most of my own experimentation and routing up until like I plateaued in speedrun mode, and I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong? What is Rick doing?
But even to that point, so Rick's run was 8:03, the world record. David, you ended up getting down to an 8:50, I believe.
Yes.
And even I think like at what point did you end up resorting to checking out the world record run? I want to say it was pretty close to like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was somewhere around the 10-minute point.
Yeah, it's so like, what was your approach to learning, to getting it down that far? Did you take some of the stuff you learned in the new game mode and sort of apply it to the speedrun mode, or vice versa? Or
Yeah, I was largely taking what I had learned in new game and applying it to speedrun mode. So basically, new game taught me some of the fundamentals, like the initial gathering of shards, what certain upgrades cost, when can I afford them, which upgrades are absolutely valuable must-haves. Ultra Boost.
Ultra Boost, yes.
So I just want to mention here, when we're talking about the difference between the new game category and the speedrun category, and this is there's a pretty critical difference, is that the base game, when you're playing casually, you play through and you can only really get so far. You have to reset and start the game again, because once you prestige, which is what resetting the game back to the beginning, you get these additional talent points that you can ascribe to things that are not upgrades in the game, right? Like not upgrades you can buy, right? You have to get these talent points sort of outside of the regular flow of the game. And in the speedrun mode, one of the reasons why it's so much easier to play the game through so fast is that you get 20 of these points right out the gate. In the new game mode, you don't have any. You have to earn them and then start again. You prestige in the new game mode. I think in the world record, David, you do that 4 times.
I forget how many resets that I do, but I get up to 14 talent points and then I win. So it's like reset once at 2, and then every 3 thereafter, except I skipped one of those.
I appreciate that you clarified that, Zerk, because that's exactly what I was about to ask. Is like, what is the actual difference between speedrun mode and new game? So, yeah, thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah, and the fact that you have so few talent points in new game was one of the things that threw me off in speedrun mode, because in new game, I'm used to trying to bump up my collection early with runner speed and stuff like that, but speedrun mode doesn't do that until late.
And maybe because it is such a unique game, some there are things that are analogous to other games that maybe will help viewers who might not have played it really sort of connect the dots a little bit. So if you have ever played a game like StarCraft or Age of Empires, for example, and I did end up actually one of the things we haven't talked about yet is I did talk to the creator of the game in this month and did an interview that was really enjoyable, and we can talk a little bit about that. But I did confirm that the creator does play StarCraft or had played a lot of StarCraft, and so that was definitely like perhaps a part of like some of the origin story for some of the concepts. But the Gnorp Apologue does have a lot of the like the build order and build timing concepts that would go into if you were playing like a real-time strategy game like StarCraft, right? Where you're thinking, okay, at 30 seconds, I want to start building, this structure, or I want to have so many resource collectors by such and such time of my game, or else I'm going to miss my timings, right? Now, there's no one you're playing against in a real time, like in a real-time strategy game. There's no one who's coming to kill all your collectors, but you still have Gnorps who are assigned to collecting. You have Gnorps who are assigned to hitting the rock to generate income. You have to pay with Gnorps and with the income to buy buildings and buy upgrades. And so you're measuring those and saying, what timings can I hit to make sure that I drive my speedrun time down, which is very similar to a RTS game, because it's just the only difference is that you're not sending out units to go attack. You're just attacking the rock, right? So there is a lot of, I think, like for me, having played a lot of RTS games, that's an analogy that I found really helpful when I was conceptualizing like what we were doing in the game.
Yeah, I think that kind of leads into one of the questions that we have here for David on this. Do you think that there were any experiences from any of your other speedruns that you've learned, experiences that you learned from other speedruns that transferred over to this speedrun in particular?
So probably the biggest one is that I regularly use the mouse in my point and click adventure games. So I'm no stranger to just moving it exactly where I need it to be, clicking exactly as much as I want. Although probably the one thing that threw me off is mashing. I'm not used to mashing a left click.
It can't be understated how important it is to just have like precision with your mouse clicks in this game. Like, knowing where you have to go to upgrade certain things is one thing, and knowing the timing in which is the best time to do that is another thing. But actually, like, being able to get there quickly and clicking it at the right moment, you need a lot of precision. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
There's a lot of different options that the game presents you with, and from what I saw, like a lot of the like buttons and stuff are like pretty like precise and small too. So it's like I feel like you can make like a mistake really easily and like buy some upgrade that you didn't actually want by accident because it's like beside the wrong one.
I scaled up the UI in the game because you can choose, nice. And I expanded things. You can also set it so because they're all in menus, right? All these things you can purchase. You can flip it so that everything that's at the top of the menu is at the bottom now.
Oh wow!
And that can be confusing, but the world record holder does it. It's like it does put a lot of the time because a lot of the time the more expensive things are at the top. You're only going to buy it once, right? So you can flip it that way you're not going to hit the lower things. But.
Interesting,
right?
I can't tell you how many times I reset because I accidentally bought a slam club.
Right.
Oh my god, I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple moments because sometimes something on the other side of the screen will upgrade and then make something available on the other side of the screen that you're trying to click on, and then all of a sudden something will appear under your mouse, and then you'll end up buying the wrong thing. That happened to me a couple times.
Right. Are there any like keyboard shortcuts and stuff for the menus, or is it just all clicking?
So you can there's an option on your keyboard to jump like from where you are, like essentially a screen over, and then if you try to do it another, it'll give you like a half screen. It's not super responsive, and I was kind of confounded by the fact that there aren't hotkeys to like, I want to go to this structure, I'm gonna hit this button, right?
Right.
Or I'm gonna set this like structure as 1 and this structure as 2. In an RTS game, like I was mentioning before, you would be able to set hotkeys for structures at your leisure each game. And this didn't have it, so you had to just navigate like David's saying, and just make sure your cursor was in the right spot.
Be an interesting update if that got added in? I know there's like supposed to be some big update to this game, right? Sometime soon. Did that already happen? I don't know.
So there is information about a potential update on the website for the developer's website for the game. And when I spoke with Maiko, who made the game, a lot of the discussion was on this potential update. Maiko essentially said that the idea was to have 3 Gnorp games, and the update was almost going to be like the second one, but is going to be just an like a expansion, quite a significant expansion of this game. I don't know. We didn't get into a lot of like what the concept would be of what, like if there's any quality of life stuff that might come through with that. What Maiko did say is that it's going to be a pretty significant expansion of like the talent system, where you can like apply 1 talent to something or like 2 or 3, so you can have that talent plus, and like increase its impact of that single talent, and that there would be like a lot of depth that might come out of that kind of thing, and that because I said that if speedrunners would be very curious about this, because I know speedrunners have a little bit of anxiety about game updates in this way, in that the new update will maintain the existing new game, the existing speedrun mode, and it will have then like a Gnorp Apologue Plus game that is the updated version, and a speedrun mode for that as well. So it'll maintain all the categories, and all the runs we have now will still be like it won't be like erased essentially.
That's great.
Which is really cool. I think it was like Maiko was like, yeah, don't worry, all of the runs are going to be good. We're going to have a whole new board for the other. It's like it was great. Yeah.
That's super thoughtful, especially for a game that feels like it's, I don't know, it's not like your normal speed run, you know. So it's interesting that the dev took all that stuff into account. But that's very considered. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, Maiko said that the speedrun mode that exists now was like almost an afterthought and was like in the last couple weeks of development, and that it mostly came out of Maiko having just watched a bunch of GDQ and being like, I really like speedrunning, and then put it in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it kind of takes me back to Oregon Trail, where there was the DLC version, which was the main version that most people played because it included the UFO, which is integral to speedrunning that game. But to play the non-DLC version was kind of a pain because you had to have once you applied the DLC version to your game, you couldn't go back unless you like uninstalled things and like reinstall. It's just a pain to have to like go through those hoops, and this update is going to completely bypass all of those issues. So that's great.
Yeah, that's really good.
Do we have any other? There was one other question from here I really wanted to ask David. So what drove you to run the game as much as you did? Because you put in quite a good amount of time on this, especially on the new game mode. What kind of was your driving force?
I'm not really sure. So, I mean, I started playing it, and then I started doing speedrun mode, but initially speedrun mode didn't quite connect, so then I got curious about new game, and then I ended up having a lot of fun routing new game because it hadn't been done before. I was in new territory. I was figuring stuff out on my own, like what works when, what works where, what do I need to do to beat the game, and then I just ended up experimenting, and it's like, okay, well, what if I try this? What if I try this? What if I try this? And then eventually 2 weeks of that, and I assembled the run that got onto the board.
Yeah, that's it's a real daunting task for a lot of people to like take a game that has nothing and just like say, okay, I'm gonna route out the speedrun for this. So like huge kudos to you for like even like taking that on, it's without having any resources, that can be a huge hurdle for any speedrunner, and that's part of the reason why we put this group together, so we could tackle things as a group,
especially especially considering the number of options there are in this game to do to tackle everything. There's so much stuff to consider. So yeah, good on you for that.
Yeah, I mean, really, the tricky part is just the first run, the first one that's completed. Once you have a run that completes, you can take that run and improve it. So you just need to finish once, and then you can keep finishing.
Are there any other questions I want to ask David before we check out this run?
I have a question, but I'll save it for after we watch the run, I think.
Okay. All right, let me get this ready here. So I
just anticipation.
So I selected David's. So typically during this time we select the world record run, but the world record run for this was already quite established. So instead, I decided to choose David's speedrun mode, first PB of the 850. I would love to watch the new game run, but 52 minutes. I don't think we have the time for it. But I encourage everybody to check it out.
Popcorn.
Sure. Let's see here. I gotta share this.
Yeah, I'll have to see what I can remember. I put so much more effort into new game than speedrun mode. I tried, but I hit a wall. I burnt out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, I mean, you
Doing your share screen here thing on stream.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the actual window.
Your downloads folder is
so
a
mess. so many porn windows.
Oh, you could share OBS.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, you can all pop into that one. And I'll change my window. All right, let's check this out. Pause the music and go here. All right,
Did you look at that? I'm resetting. Why am I resetting? I don't remember. But yeah, the timer starts when you click on the rock. So even before you click on the rock, get the Zybelium to the left. Basically following Rick's initial kind of build here, which is like 4 housing, get runners up to, I forget, is it like 12?
Yeah, I think you hit 12.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can't get more than 4 housing because then it builds a house where you want other buildings to go, and so you have to wait for those to be landed first before you more housing.
Oh, I didn't even consider that. Oh my goodness.
It'll put housing where the House of Shard. Yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Yeah.
That cute little balloon.
Mm-hmm. Yep, balloon's going out to get the Zybelium. Once you got the buildings, you can just build more housing.
One of the essential upgrades is one where if the collector Gnorps are collecting less than half of what you're producing in shards, they'll collect more. And so you want to at different times be producing double what they're collecting, because then you get a boost to what they're collecting. It's like a pretty complicated balance to maintain, but it's one of the things you're thinking about, especially in the early game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then at the archery range, I'm switching back and forth between ice and fire. That's kind of one of the core tricks of the speedrun that Maiko did not really consider when making the game was, we can just freeze the rock and then throw fire at it.
Because ice freezes the rock, which increases the damage that's being done.
Mm-hmm. Right, but also because of the popcorn and frostfire talents, it's going to throw all of those shards right next to the shard stash.
Mm-hmm.
It also makes the shard creation more bursty because it's going in big waves rather than just sort of a constant small stream. So that'll often push you over like the recollection of the shards, like the depression events, which happen to run.
Got King of the Mountain. Yeah, one of the big differences between speedrun mode and new game here is kind of the way we're approaching these next couple of compression events. In the new game mode, I can't afford enough bombers to make the pile big enough again, so I have to save up for Ultra Boost. But here, you could get up to like 45 bombers and pull it off.
So on top of the building where the balloon guy who collects the Zybelium, that's a star little thing. On top of that building, you're clicking the little flashing light, which is getting the Zybelium things in the air to come closer to the building. But that is actually, there's a lot of skill to that because you have to click it when it's either when it's lit up or not lit up, or whichever the correct one is. And that's actually really, really hard to do. I couldn't, for the life of me, I didn't do it because I just lost time because I was like, I'm going to just lose because it'll go farther away if you click at the wrong time.
There are
a skill with the clicking.
There are a lot of moments in my runs of this where I just immediately get very frustrated, and it's because I missed a click and it just shot the Zybelium across the screen.
Yeah, like you get a correct click, it moves a millimeter. You get a wrong click, it flies a mile away.
Mm-hmm. So at this point, oh yeah, go.
Well, I was just going to say, so there are lots of options of what you do in this game. We mentioned earlier the Slam Club, which is an upgrade tree, like it's a building and a type of upgrade. We just totally forego in the speedrun. And we really focus on these Gnorps who are doing the jetpack thing and then falling into the rock, and upgrades that connect them doing that with the things for the other runners. So they make the collectors go faster. There's these little dudes who jump on top of the stack called the Mountaineers, and it gives them an attack as well. So there's a lot of synergies with the jetpack Gnorps that everyone essentially had to use because it was so critical to the run.
Yeah. So right just there, I bought the shrine. The shrine, find the chosen. It costs a lot of Gnorps. It costs 1 million shards, but you want to get it as early as possible because once you click find the chosen, 9 Gnorps are going to line up and each are going to try to pull out Gnorp caliber. And only the 9th one will actually pull it out, and then you get the upgrades. It takes a very long time, but you need it.
Yeah,
so get it early.
The buffs are pretty significant.
Yeah, the other thing I'm noticing is that I actually bought the speed upgrade to 3 pixels per whatever pretty early on. The world record doesn't do it until late.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that. I mean, I guess like there are points in which you don't want your runners to be moving as quickly.
Because you want to maintain that balance of them collecting only half as much.
Right.
Well, I mean, in speedrun mode, not even then, because it's all about pushing the compressions. Compress, compress, compress. And you're not going to go for maximum collection until like tier 9 or later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then we've got the pocket rockets. Say goodbye to the bitrate.
Yeah, this is where the bitrate is toast.
This is there was a point in the game, Getting Over It, where you're like the guy in the pot and you have a hammer and you're trying to get up a giant mountain, right? It's a really frustrating game, but there's a point at the end of that game when you beat it where it says, hey, if you're streaming this, like, don't share this part. Like, just, okay, this is only for you, right? So, like, make sure the people who are watching don't see this. And I think what Bennett Foddy needed to do was just do this, just to kill the bitrate so that you had to, so that you couldn't share it. Only you could see it happening.
Yeah.
Bennett Foddy needed pocket rockets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm just jumping back and forth, spending up. It's constant. Left, right, left, right, left, right.
Mm-hmm. This is what you need those hotkeys for.
And then timing the ice arrows with constellation. Because all the rockets go up, freeze the rock, bam.
Yeah, so without this upgrade, the rockets would continually hit the stone, but there is an upgrade that is stopping. It's going to make them go in a big wave. So they'll shoot up in the air here, then you'll see switching between the different types of arrows to freeze the rock, then the rockets come down. It's a bit of a dance you have to do in order to get it over the edge.
Right.
But it makes a
Cool.
huge difference at the very end.
Yeah.
But like minutes and minutes difference for sure. The rockets go up, ice arrows, then switch back, yeah.
I love that pinned message.
Yeah. I'm Gnorping out, bro.
Yeah. But toward the end here, we get what really makes the speedrun tricky is because for the first 9 to 10 tiers, you're constantly pushing compressions. But then once you get to the last one, you need 250 million shards for whatever you're going to do. So it is difficult to get that balance between collection and damage.
One of the things, like, this is an 850 run. The world record's 8 minutes 3 seconds. One of the wildest things at the end of the world record run, coming into this stage of the game, like he has enough shards there already, essentially, to he's got the shards so early in this process, and it's really confounding figuring out like how the math worked and like what he was doing to like line that up so well.
Right.
But I mean, this 850 is still amazing, right? So.
Yeah. And it's especially amazing because I know there's some things I figured out that he's not doing in the world record. Like, did I bother with vulnerability? I don't know if I did.
I think
certainly
you
didn't do
did.
reclamation.
I think you did grab the vulnerability near the end.
Okay, but I definitely did not grab reclamation
No.
notification.
The run is over, by the way.
Yeah. It's kind of like
Yeah.
there's a little bit that goes on, but
So
And
essentially,
then I
yeah.
never broke 9 minutes again.
Essentially, you get enough resources to launch off this rocket, which has a drill in it, and then they drill into the rock, and the rock is broken forever.
I mentioned this earlier, but a railgun, like, that's not a railgun, right? A railgun wouldn't have a rocket. It uses a magnet to fire, so there wouldn't be any propulsion from the item itself.
Right.
The whole railgun concept in this, I didn't totally understand, but it's very minor.
it's just railguns are cool. That's all that matters.
And then eventually, it gives you your time. There it is.
Now, folks at home can't read that. It is actually really legible when you play the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, now that we've watched that, my question from earlier was, what exactly is it that the world record does that we weren't able to crack this time around? Like, what are the like? I remember at the start of this, I was like, oh yeah, I feel like put our minds to it, we'll probably get like a 7 something, and then didn't happen, which is fine. I just wonder, like, what are the things that the world record does differently? Do we have an idea of what it is, or?
I have some rough idea.
Okay.
The world record is not just buying the things that it needs, but it's timing them very carefully. So, like, toward the beginning of my run, I started buying bombers, but only like 3 came out toward the beginning, whereas the world record will buy all the bombers, but time it so that they hit the rock for the first time right as the archers have already frozen the rock and then set it on
Okay.
fire.
Okay.
And there's a whole lot of that exact timing throughout the entire thing.
Right. Which is tricky when
Yeah,
there's so much
it's-
going on.
It's very tricky. So you don't just have to memorize how many do you need when. You need to know exactly when down to the second.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
And
It's really
I just
interesting.
I didn't have it in me to go that far.
Right.
Mhm. And so you almost need to like have a timer, like like separate timers for everything and like monitoring the site. Okay, well I need to click at this at 12 seconds and this at the
Well,
But
so
Just
this is
picturing all these alarm clocks.
but
Really
then
quick,
is a good-
oh yeah, go ahead.
Uchida did bring up something about RNG.
I was just gonna say that.
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know for sure if the Zybellium is random, but I know the garden is. So
Mhm.
one of the things that would sometimes kill my runs was when the garden decided, you know what, it's not going to give me any acid.
Mhm.
Then all of a sudden, I don't have that multiplier from the acid, and my piles aren't getting big enough.
Right.
And then yeah, like like I said, like the Zybellium, whether there's RNG there or not, but where those Zybellium spawn after they come out of the rock, after compression events, you know, if it spawns further towards the rock than it does towards your collection building, like, you know, that's a couple extra clicks, and that's gonna take some time, and then it's a few more seconds that you gotta wait before you can grab one of your upgrades. And yeah, I'm sure there must be something there. I wish that, so when you like hover your mouse over the Zybellium, it will like push it, like significantly push it in a direction, but then it sort of just bounces everywhere. I wish there was some way to control that, or like be more like intentional about like how you push the Zybellium, because that would be huge. But it just seems like it just goes all over the place.
Right.
I mean, this is exceptionally minor, but before the run starts in speedrun mode, because the run starts when you click the rock the first time, and there's already a Zybellium because of one of the upgrades we take. There's already a Zybellium hanging there, and you can like play with your mouse to manipulate it eventually to where you like would ideally want it, but it's a very minor thing in the grand scale of the run.
Yeah, you kind of get it to where you sort of like, oh, that's close enough, you know. But then you get your collector early so that they have time to go collect it while you're upgrading other things, you know. So. All right. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to post them. Does anybody here have any other questions for David, or any questions about the run in general?
I have many questions, but that's because I don't understand a damn thing about it. So they're not ones that need to be addressed.
Just a really satisfying run. Great job.
Yeah, I mean,
I
a lot of
agree.
my thoughts are more on like the really like technical stuff about the run that we don't need to get into in this discussion. But I mean, there's always for folks who are curious about that kind of stuff as well. There's always time to talk about that stuff in the Discord, right? If you have really technical questions.
All right, so I guess before we get into spinning our wheel and selecting our 13th boost for June,
Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13. There are a couple things I kind of wanted to talk about with just sort of like the future of the club, kind of like where, like we've been doing this for 2 years now. You know, where do we go from here? What's next? What's on the horizon? So you may have noticed, if you're following the Twitch channel, which you should be. If you're not, click the follow button and follow the Twitch channel. There's been more streams happening on the Twitch channel. That's not by accident. We're trying to get a little bit more foot traffic into the Twitch channel, get that onto people's suggested lists, and get just more visibility for the club. We are currently one stream away from becoming affiliated, which will help with that, certainly. That'll open us up to being able to use emotes and subs and just increase visibility in searches and things like that. Some of the things that we've sort of kind of tossed around with the mods for the board boosters team is just kind of having more regular streams from the admin team, just sort of getting some board booster game practice by some of the admin members. You know, if we're looking to run the game, maybe we'll run some of those on the Board Booster stream, so people can check them out, check out the new game, kind of see what it's all about. If you don't happen to be following some of us individually. We've also been, we tried to do the What We Know So Far stream for the Gnorp Apologue. We want to continue to do that. Basically, what we know so far stream is, it's right in the title. It's sort of something we'll do early on in the boost month to, let people know, what do we know about the speed run so far? How do we learn the run? How would somebody who has no experience with the game start? Where would they start, and where can they find resources? So that's something we'd like to continue to do for every boost that we select. And then also races are something that we've tried before as well, and something that we would like to try to do for games that seem like good candidates for races. There are certain games that I think might not fit that bill, but it's certainly something that we've decided that we kind of want to continue doing if it seems right for that game. And anybody want to mention anything about those things that I just talked about, or thoughts on those?
I like them all. Speedrun races sounds really fun. Yeah, definitely are some that are more attuned to a race than others, but they'd definitely be fun to see.
And it's something too that it doesn't have to be like the current run either. Like we could go and revisit something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I know I heard people who were like, oh, well, I know somebody in particular who suggested to me to get some Pogi races going, and I was like, well, we could do that. It's 2 years since we selected Pogi for our very first, board boost. So,
Pogiversary.
Pogiversary. So maybe,
Yeah. And we just had, you and David just did the Ignition Factor run, right? On Retrothon?
Yes, at Retrothon. Yeah, tried to
That was
get
a hot run.
That was a hot run indeed. And then so past that, so those are things that kind of the admin team has been tossing around for us to contribute, but we've also considered finding ways that other Board Boosters Club members could also contribute to the traffic on the Twitch channel, giving other Board Boost Club members the opportunity to stream on the channel, show off an underrepresented speedrun game that you run, or something that you think would be a good candidate for a future board boost. We're still in very early stages of deciding how this is going to work, but we want to know if you have a game that you speedrun that you feel would be a good board booster contender, and you want to show people that stream. Maybe your game isn't selected for the boost, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a platform to show that game off. That's something else that we've kind of considered.
And the one thing about that too is, if there's a game that maybe is underrepresented, but you just love this game, but maybe it's like 50 minutes for a run. Maybe it's just a bit longer than what we would normally have for a board booster run, or there's some reason why it might not be just a great fit, but it's still it's really underrepresented and you really love that game. Maybe that's a good game where you can take time on the channel, come on, show people the game. Maybe other people will run it as well, and use this as a common platform for showing off that kind of stuff. So it doesn't have to necessarily be something you want to submit. We really want to give people the opportunity to make use of the channel and to help it grow as well, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's a really good point.
It'd be cool to see some it'd just be cool to see some people show off what they have for submitted for the wheel, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Just to highlight a little bit and maybe get people hyped for those being picked. I think that'd be interesting to see, because there's so many options on the wheel now.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be awesome to see what they all look like, even if they don't end up being picked or whatever. At least we get to see how it goes, and then
sure.
Who knows? Yeah.
And kind of on in that same vein, you know, something else that I've kind of considered doing is doing sort of like little mini marathons, doing kind of some interviews with some people who run some of these games, almost you know, like little featurettes of speed runs that kind of fit that board booster those board booster characteristics, you know. You know, these might be themed, you know, maybe one stream we end up doing all shooters and another stream it's platformers, and you know, there we could kind of have fun with it. But really what this all comes down to is like, this is sort of like a invitation to all the members. If you have a game that you want to show off, or if you think that you want to have a platform to kind of introduce people to a speedrun that you think deserves a little bit more visibility, we would love for you to reach out to us and let us know, because we want to see if there's interest in these ideas. And maybe it's not speedruns that you want to show off. Maybe you just want to help out the team. Maybe you want to, we're looking for people, you know, if we have more traffic on the Twitch channel, we're going to need people to help moderate. If we're not available to be there, to be there during streams. If we have other events that we're hosting, we might need help hosting these events, kind of having people there to host them, or to even just be around to help moderate when other people are streaming. If you want to help out with the Board Booster team and help us grow and help us, you know, do more with the channel, please reach out. We'd love the help, and quite frankly, we'll probably need it if we're going to grow the team. So
eventually, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, let us know. Let us know if you're interested in helping out Board Boosters, and we'll find a place for you. Certainly.
Yeah. DM us, DM one of us, or tag us in the Discord or something like that. Reach out.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do we want to pick this June boost?
Spin the
Do it.
wheel.
Spin that wheel. All right. Let's see here.
Zero, you recently streamed to the channel and played a few of these games, or
Yes.
took a look at them.
Yes.
Anything that stood out where you were like, hey, actually, you know, I kind of do want to play this game a bit more right now?
Absolutely. There are definitely a couple of runs on here that really piqued my interest. And it's funny because like I reviewed a lot of these games a long time ago, and then I just looked at them again for, you know, I went through the whole list, not all the whole list on stream, but some of them I was like, oh, I don't remember this run being as cool the first time I looked at it, you know. Some of the ones on the list that really stood out to me were Beat Zero's suggestion of Castlevania Prelude of Chaos, which is a Castlevania homebrew game that was actually initially developed for TI calculators, but then was ported to the PC to obviously get a wider audience. But yeah, it was. I was looking into it. I was like, oh, this looks like a Game Boy game. But no, it was initially developed in 2007 for TI calculators and then ported to PC in 2020. And it plays great. It looks really cool. The controls look really awesome. Another one was David's suggestion of Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves on the NES.
It's a cool game. It's a cool game.
Like, it has just so much variety in the type of gameplay that there is. Like, there's top-down action, there's like platformer type sections, there's RPG elements where you're like using items to like solve puzzles and buying equipment and things, and it's just
some tactic stuff.
Yes, very, very cool.
Horse riding stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of that's crazy.
Yeah, and for
cool.
for like a 25-minute run, like there's a lot of cool stuff in there. And then the last one that I really want to point out was a suggestion from Junkyard Dave, Celeste Mario's Zap and Dash.
Thank God you didn't say Homie D Clown.
I did not say.
Oh God.
Yeah, Celeste Mario Zap and Dash was a homebrew Mario Celeste mashup that was released about 2 years ago at this point. And I remember when the homebrew came out, it was really like it got a lot of traction on the speedrun boards by about a dozen people, and like everybody was running it. Well, not everybody, but like 10, 12 people were running the game. And then after about a month, just nobody touched it again. And I think part of the reason is that it's not, it doesn't have it, like, unless somebody's speedrunning it, no one's going to know about it, so it's not something that's like out there being advertised. But I think if more people saw it, they'd want to run the game. It seems like it's really well made. It's built to play on an NES, so it's got that sort of NES quality to it, but it plays like Celeste almost exactly. So with wall grabs and air dashes and everything like that, it's very cool. So
yeah, I remember seeing Dave and also White Hat. They played it a whole bunch recently, and
Steve Zero also was playing it last year. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice. And I was like, oh, it looks pretty cool. Yeah, it'd be a neat one to show up.
So, yeah. All right.
Well, maybe the wheel will choose one of those.
Maybe it will. Let's find out.
Have we willed it into existence?
So let's get the wheel up here. And then
I have a TI, I think TI 81 calculator from high school. I wonder if I could get game on the calculator to do it that way.
They for GDQ, they did that bit where they ran a TI calculator game as like a joke, but it was an actual speed run. I wonder
really?
I don't know if they actually used the calculator to do it though. But, anyway,
I meant to submit something.
Oh, it didn't make it on there. Well,
I'll wait till next time.
All right, bunch of people on here. For those who don't know, this game list is public. You can view it. It's available. There's a pinned message in the game suggestions in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, hop in there, and you can check this out. So let's get going. Let's spin this wheel.
Everyone clap. Just like they do on Wheel of Fortune. Every spin.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Would you look at that?
David TKI. Okay. So we got a couple.
Is this the third post-mortem in a row where the person who got chosen was in the call? I
think you're right.
Was it Zero, and then Latalis, and now David TKI?
Uchi was in between, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now you got to roll between what? 4
yes.
games?
Now I got to put the games on there. Let me.
Boy,
you have a couple
stuff.
Yeah. So we have Pac-Land, the arcade.
All right.
The arcade port for the TurboGrafx.
This is just where Zero has already chosen Robin Hood, and he's just doing all of this.
He's playing a video.
Yeah.
Just a video of this happening.
I'm just gonna call it Robin Hood because that's what I did in the video that I recorded prior to the stream.
Write every character of the title, please.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna need today's date in
Cutting
there.
corners.
All right, let's get them back up here. All right, so here are our selections. We've got Pac-Land, Robin Hood, RoboPit, which is a PS1 fighting game, modular fighting game where you can create a robot to fight. And Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. This is the one on the NES. Pool of Radiance.
Okay.
So
I would also be okay with people playing the PC version.
for sure. So let me shuffle these up here and give it a spin. Oh wait, okay, it's Pac-Man. I thought it was going to land on
It's almost
Okay, it was really close.
incredibly close.
Wow.
That's so funny. All right,
Jeez.
it's Pac-Land.
Okay.
That was
Cool.
breathtaking to watch. All right.
Almost like it was set up ahead of time.
So Pac-Land is an auto runner that was originally in arcades and then ported to TurboGrafx. I think it has other ports. I can't remember.
It has lots of ports, but I do highly suggest running the TurboGrafx 16 version, mainly because that console has turbo on its controller by default, and you need to mash the button to go faster.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, well, counterpoint to that though, the TurboGrafx 16 version, you can do different numbers of rounds, but the 16 round run is 10 minutes, whereas on the NES, the 16 round run is only 4-minute world record. So this seems like pretty different games pretty different runs to do. Maybe we'll see people doing different ones.
So essentially, like you place Pac-Man, you automatically walk or run if you tap the button through obstacles, and then you have to dodge ghosts and different enemies, jump over platforms, it's fairly interesting. You can't really stop moving, which is part of the difficulty in it. So you have to kind of maintain your speed, but also time things so you don't fall into pits while you're trying to dodge things and stuff like that. So, fairly low barrier for entry. I think you can kind of play through it a couple times and get a pretty good feel for it. This will be a fun one.
I didn't know that auto runners existed that far back.
I know.
I thought that was a more recent thing. This is interesting.
I mean, I don't have any platform to say that this is true, but it's got to be one of the first ones that I would think. I don't know.
It was an arcade game, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. So, exciting.
David, do you know you have like a very wicked smirk on? Do you know the answer to this? If this is the first one?
No, I was telling everyone else that runs Pac-Land that it was chosen.
Good. Okay.
Which I can't believe they all decided to run one trip.
And David actually has one of the world records for this game, I believe.
Correct.
So we always love to see that, people suggesting games that they have world records in. So let's all try to top.
Well, I didn't have it at the time I suggested it.
You could have removed it, I guess. Well, no, it's mine. I can take it.
No, it is funny. I just as we were getting prepped, this is sort of inside baseball for the folks watching at home. But as we're getting prepped together, we have a Discord channel for these calls, and we give people who come on as guests a guest thing so they have all the permissions to come and be a part of the call. And I was thinking to myself, we should just let David TKI keep the guest role, because he's going to be on every goddamn call. And here we go. Next month, it's going to be another one. So here we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's I think that's a stream, folks. We'll get the new channels made in the Discord, and we will probably schedule a what we know so far at some point, sometime in the beginning of next, either the end of this month or the beginning of next month, to give people a stream to watch and see what they need to know about the speedrun and how to get into it. So, exciting stuff. If you're not following the Twitch page, please hit that follow button. Going to be a lot more things happening on here. So very exciting stuff happening in the Board Boosters Club. All right. I think we're going to sign off then. Anybody else have anything to say before we do so?
Should we raid some dork?
Yeah, we should raid a dork. That's fine. Let's we'll mull over which dork to stream or to raid. while y'all can listen to this wonderful soundtrack. All right, everybody. Goodbye.
Have a good one. See
Bye.
ya.
Thanks for joining us.